so in love with you.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is absolutely bonkers, like the spam in my comment section. Real quick sidebar, you guys, I'm not pushing cryptocurrency and I don't use WhatsApp. I'm trying to get on those spam comments and report them, but you guys have to understand I have a full-time job and 3 kids at home, 6 years old, 4 years old, and 2 years old. So I have a lot going on, my bad. So today's video is, will the housing market really crash? Will it really? Yes, it's absolutely going to crash, but worry not, you guys. My channel is devoted to sharing with you guys my experiences on essentially how to deal with a housing market crash, and most importantly, what to do to prepare for a potential housing market crash. And you guys, we can all be winners on the other side of this thing, but right now, the market is completely out of control. The market fundamentals are dissolving every single day. The bubble only gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and a potential pop only more damaging. And as always, like I'm saying, with the recession right around the corner, it's only going to make things much worse unless something is done now. But regardless, you guys, like I'm saying, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Part of success is being prepared. You don't have to be afraid, but plan accordingly. Today, we dive into, will the housing market really crash? And what we're going to do is take a look at an article from insider.com. By the way, the article is in my description. I suggest everyone that's watching this video check out the article. It has some really good links to additional articles. But essentially, what we're going to do is look at the opinions of other people on whether or not the housing market will crash. So you guys don't just have to listen to me. We're going to take a look at other people, and we're going to start with this insider.com article, which is, what's next for the U.S. housing bubble? Industry experts break down the bull and bear cases for home prices in the months ahead. Now, real quick, you guys, this is very important to understand. I am not a financial advisor. I'm an opinion sharer. Yes, a realtor in Houston. Yes, a loan officer in Texas. And while you can, please, for the algorithm for my channel, like this video, share the video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't. But as always, you guys, we're a community. Everyone's learning off of everyone. Comment below. Now we're going to jump into the article in more detail right now. And what I want you to pay attention to is how home prices in the fourth quarter have actually already gone down, right? But again, it's the fourth quarter. A lot of times they do go down in the fourth quarter. Take a look at this article. So it goes on to say, with mortgage rates rising as the Federal Reserve begins to hike the federal funds rate, investors and prospective homeowners are wondering, is the housing market due for a downturn? Worries about the fate of the market are especially pertinent given the tear that home prices have been on since the start of the pandemic. Median home prices have risen as much as 27% since spring of 2020. Data from the Census Bureau and the Department of Housing and Urban Development indicated. You guys, that is a huge, huge equity jump, obviously. But prices fell slightly for the first time since then in the fourth quarter of 2021, and they could continue to do so. To explore more on what direction the market could take in the months ahead, Insider collected the views of a handful of experts. The articles are shared below. So you guys, like I said, this data is in my description. Check out this article from yourself because there's like 5 articles in one article. And again, like I'm always saying, empower yourself with education. Get the opinions of many people, not just me, not just your parents, not just your friends, right? Not just realtors, not just loan officers, but as many people as possible. And then you guys decide based on your own personal experience, how do you want to move forward? Because not everyone sells for the same reason and not everyone buys for the same reason. Let's continue. A chief economist who called the 2008 housing crisis warns that the U.S. market is in the early stages of a substantial downshift as demand subsides, and says surging home prices and rents are due to cool off in a big way. Now, you guys remember what I'm saying. Not only is there a surge in interest rates, but there's awful inflation right now in the form of gas prices, food prices. There are all kinds of enemies right now, per se, that is attacking the affordability of everyday people's purchasing power. The purchasing power is not the same. Affordability is being destroyed, essentially. The article continues. In this piece, Ian Shepherdson, the founder and chief U.S. economic at Pantheon Macroeconomics, that is so hard to say, you guys on video, you have no idea how many times that took me, breaks down why he thinks the growth of home prices and activity in the market is due for a big pullback. This is a very intelligent man warning people. I hope people get the warning. Let's continue. The housing market is in the early stages of a substantial downshift in activity, which will trigger a steep decline in the rate of increase of home prices, starting perhaps as soon as the spring. As soon as the spring, do y'all hear what these people are saying? I'm at least saying the winter. Again, you guys, I'm not trying to scare you, but pay attention to what people are saying. And also remember this equity surge, counting for inflation, is the second sharpest increase in surge of equity in the history of the United States housing market, okay? Number two. So obviously we're in a bubble, and I suspect we could possibly actually during spring go to number one. Now, you guys, how many times have I said, especially if you're a first-time buyer, you might want to sit out for just a little bit because this too will pass, okay? Calm down a little bit and actually get empowerment. Be confident in your ability to be patient. I really think the people that are the most patient will get the best deals. I'm not one of these guys that real estate can only go up because I know for a fact it can actually go down, okay? So listen to what all of these people are saying. Are we on the verge of a housing bubble bust? An economist advises buyers to sit out the current irrational market and list the 11 most overvalued cities in the US. And again, you guys, this article is in my description. This article is leading to many of these other articles, but this is all really great information that I think you guys should consider. Let's move on. It goes on. Ken Johnson, an economist at Florida Atlantic University, said in March that current market dynamics were irrational and recommended waiting to buy homes. While he said the entire US market was overvalued, some markets were frothier than others. This piece shares the 11 most overvalued cities in the country based on Johnson's model. And you guys, like I have been saying, some cities, especially metro areas, Sunbelt, West Coast, some cities have a worse housing bubble than others. There are going to be some cities that get absolutely rocked. So if you can choose where to live, if you can live outside of metro areas, or even pick a state, if you're blessed enough to pick a state, choose wisely. It's really important right now. You can make a ton of money, like I said, on the other side of this, as long as you don't get trapped in a house, right? And that's really what I'm saying here. Don't get trapped in a house, right? I feel like it's possible that whoever buys in 2022 can get trapped in a house with upside down equity, okay? Again, that's just my opinion because it's happened to me back in 2008, which again, you guys, because I was trapped, I couldn't sell, recession hit, lost my job, foreclosure, 10 years of struggling, okay? Now I'm in much better shape, but if I can prevent that lesson, I can help you guys, all the better. The article continues. Out-of-time home buyers are driving up real estate prices in these 10 overvalued cities, and it's fueling housing bubble fears. So you guys remember me talking about the hyped up or souped up buyer, okay? Not only these souped up, hyped up buyers, in Texas, where I live, we are the #1 state as far as migration. And probably over the last 3 days, I've seen maybe 200 realtors. So I asked them a lot, whether they're listing homes or helping buyers. And a lot of these contracts in Texas and Houston are actually getting picked up by out of state, out of towner people, investors. And essentially what they're doing is they're somehow bringing cash to the market. So I understand the migration. Texas has it super duper bad. And I believe #2 is Florida. The article continues. Sticking with a more granular view of the U.S. housing market, the real estate brokerage Redfin indicated in a February report, 10 cities where housing prices were being driven up by outside investors. You guys, I bet you Austin is in there. It broke down some of the factors driving the surges, such as favorable tax laws, budget disparities between buyers given varying local living costs, and people fleeing more expensive cities during the pandemic. A heightened appetite for flipping may be a sign of a bubble in the market, some say. You guys, one thing I kind of do want you to be a little bit nervous about is institutional investors. I really believe the institutional investors are going to be also sitting out for the most part waiting for the downturn in the market. So it's even more especially super duper important that you guys prepare, because if you don't prepare for the backside of this housing market, I'm pretty sure the institutional investors will continue to scoop up the homes of your dreams. The article goes on. Is the housing market setting up for a crash? Two experts, including one who called the 2008 bubble burst, share the warning signs that a real estate downfall is coming. You guys, a crash is coming. In my opinion, let's continue. Ivy Zellman and Desmond Latchman are both relatively bearish on the U.S. housing market, but for different reasons. Latchman, a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institution, former deputy director for the International Monetary Fund, and former strategist at Salmon Smith Barney, said in an interview with Insider that rising mortgage rates were the driving factor behind why home prices would fall. Meanwhile, Zellman, a former Credit Suisse analyst and the founder of the research firm Zellman and Associates, is bearish because of issues stemming from potential supply increases. Now, you guys, I've been saying this, but the inventory and the supplies will absolutely start increasing. The last few months has been historically the worst time from an inventory standpoint for the housing market. But with demand constantly being rug pulled and inventory slightly going up every single month, you guys are starting to see that it's more and more possible, even if you're a doubter, it's more and more possible that the housing market is in a bubble and that it will pop. Now, overall, you guys, I'm going to share with you my opinion once again. So here's my opinion. Monitor your budget, okay? Once you monitor your budget, start trimming out some expenses. As you're trimming out expenses, start saving your money, as much money as possible. At that point, work on your credit worthiness. Get out of consumer debt, okay? And be patient. And as you're patient, be confident that you're doing the right thing, you guys. And again, this is my opinion, but also in the meantime, love your life and love your family. Now, if you guys are interested in real estate, I wish you luck and I hope you win.